Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. And today we are going to Atlantis. Well, sort of. We're going to yet another submerged example of civilization beneath the sea. However, I don't think it began in the sea. And I think we'll touch upon that. Let's go into more details, eh?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it kind of began in the Middle East.
Wait,
Yes.
what? It went from the Middle East
Uh,
into the sea?
It
yes.
happens.
Yeah. So what we have here is we have two marble altars from the Roman period. So this is the time when Romans ruled the earth. Cue Jurassic Park dinosaur music and full shield wall marching by.
As a
Romo
phalanx starts going.
Eternum.
Oh no.
Yeah. The Romanosaurus Rex.
There's 56 stabbings in the air tonight.
Yes. Anyway, these altars are currently situated off the coast of Pazuli, which is near Campania. In ancient times, it was known as Patoli, and it was the main sort of trade hub for exports from Campania, which is southern Italy, out to the rest of the Mediterranean. Um, I believe these two altars were destined for the Nabataean kingdom, which was a sort of ally of Rome, which was a really nice way of saying vassal.
Yeah,
Oh, we love good
Romans had
vassal
a
states.
the Romans had a really interesting concept of allies. It's
Yeah,
it's definitely more of
it,
they
the,
didn't
the,
like to
the,
call them vassals because that had connotations with kings. So
let's
there
see.
were client
Yeah, it
states.
was a client state and an ally, which was about the equivalent of being a British colony,
Yeah.
Ooh.
only with slightly less direct rule.
Okay, so at least
Basically,
there's something.
basically you could keep your king, but your king answered to the Romans.
Yeah, it is. It's a very fun thing. So the Nabataeans they lived in what was an area of great interest to the Romans, which was next to the Persians. As their kingdom went from the Euphrates to the Red Sea, so they are a Middle Eastern kingdom. They go from uh, about bordering Egypt up into Mesopotamia, if my geography is not failing me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, that's approximately correct. These altars were uh, these altars were meant for a god called Dusares, which was a Nabataean god, and the Nabataeans they liked trading with Rome, and so they kind of established sort of their own little community in Puteoli, which is where we get this altar from. When you have your own people, sort of living in an exclave in a foreign land, you're going to start building your own temples to your own gods.
Yeah, so it's not unusual to see cults like this. Well, and cults not in like Jonestown
Jonestown.
kind yeah.
Manson.
Cults prior to that meant
Yeah, so
just like
by,
any
by
group of
cult we
people.
by cult we mean group worshiping a particular deity.
Yeah. So despite the fact that, a lot of the Mediterranean is polytheistic, to
Yeah.
dedicate worship to one god out of that pantheon is what you would call a cult. And so it wasn't uncommon, especially most notably in Pompeii with the cult of Isis being present there. Um, it's really interesting to see a Nabatean cult
Yes.
in that part of the world, in that part of Italy as well. So it's
Yes.
really cool.
It's very fun to see it here. Part of probably why he was chosen for this um, particular shrine is because he did have, in at least the Roman mind, Dusares did have a Roman equivalent. He was considered a version of Bacchus, which itself is the Roman version of Dionysus. So
My
it's
kind of god.
It's a party god. It's the kind of god a sailor getting off a ship would love to meet if he can't find Aphrodite. Uh,
He's the kind of god that when you wake up from the night before you or the night after, you don't remember much. There's a pool of blood, but it's coming from a goat, so you're happy that it's not someone else's.
And in the Percy Jackson films, he was the god of Diet Coke.
Yeah, because apparently he wasn't allowed to drink. He just had a little too frisky with some
Yeah.
nymphs.
He finally went
And
to AA and got sober. Like let the man
Zeus
live.
made him go to AA.
Listen, speaking of the actual history of Dusares, Dusares is actually he is also the chief god of the Nabataeans, which is why the Greeks actually sometimes referred to him as Zeus.
Hold on.
However, his actual practices are more in line with someone like Dionysus.
Hold on. Are you telling me their chief god is basically the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
I am fully willing to convert and
So-
commit.
Something like that.
So much
There's
for
very-
Neolithic
there's
sex
very
club.
limited-
Or
there's
sex
very
club?
limited. There's very limited information I can get on him.
Neolithic sex cult.
Yes,
Neolithic sex cult.
yes, he has the authority of Zeus, but the personality of Dionysus. God save us all.
And now
And here-
Nabataean sex cult. There we go.
Nabataean sex cult.
Oh God,
The
we
interesting
brought
thing
them back,
though,
everyone.
the interesting thing though, to get back from the tangent is the whole reason this is at the bottom of the water is because it's a very volatile volcanic region, and that there's a lot of seismic activity that actually lowered this portion of the city into the water.
Seismic activity in Italy? I've never heard of that.
No,
In
it's actually
southern
just
Italy.
Poseidon pulling it into the water because they worshipped a god that wasn't water.
But,
Poseidon's like, it's mine now.
But yeah, that's an important note to make too, because we don't think of volcanoes as getting rid of land. We think of volcanoes as spewing up lava and making more land. So just that important thing to do is like, yeah, they can collapse the coastline.
It happens.
Yeah,
So
it's just not how you usually think of it. Yeah,
This is why everybody should be into marine archaeology. Unfortunately, I can't swim very well.
no, everyone should not be into marine archaeology. That job is hard as hell.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Wisconsin lost their state archaeologist while he was doing marine archaeology.
Or Skibo. We
Yeah,
miss him.
rest in peace.
Yeah, well, that was a depressing note, but anyway, there's an altar to a Middle Eastern god of god of celebration in southern Italy. That's
Like
what
an
we should
alternate Skibo.
Yeah.
Cult to Skibo!
This one goes out to Mr. Skibo.
Yeah.
But on that note, I think it's a good point for us to wrap up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening to hear us rant about altars and the Middle East and gods. And rest in peace.